Welcome to Maths with EJD. We are still on with real analysis. And in this third video, our topic of consideration is fields and ordered fields. I think in the second video, so we came across the idea of fields, but it was just mentioned. So here we'll be really treating the idea. We'll look at it uh, very clearly. Here, fields and ordered fields. First of all, fields. A field is a fundamental algebraic structure that provides the setting for many parts of mathematics, especially analysis. So we cannot carry out analysis without understanding the idea of fields, and they are simply algebraic structures. Now, how do we define fields mathematically? So talking about the definition, a field is a collection of F, all right, if you like a set F with two operations, addition and multiplication. So a field, defined as that set and these two operators is a non-empty set F equipped with two binary operations. So a field, this is a field F plus dot, or that's multiplication now, is a non-empty set F equipped with two binary operations. And the two binary operations are addition, that's the plus, and the multiplication, that's the dot, right? Satisfying the following axioms. So for it to be a field, it has to satisfy the following axioms. So axioms of a field now. So field under addition. So if you take the first operation, the first binary operation, we see that it satisfies closure. Okay. Under addition, there's closure, meaning that if you pick any A and B belonging to the set F, the addition of A and B also belongs to F. That's the idea of closure. Then there's associativity, meaning that if you add A plus B first before adding C to it, it is the same thing as adding B plus C first before adding A to it. So for all A, B, and C belonging to the set F. Then there's commutativity, meaning that if you add B to A, it is equal to adding A to B for all A and B belonging to the set. Then you have identity, additive identity. So there exists a particular number O, or zero, that is, belonging to F, such that A plus zero is equal to A for all A belonging to F. I mean, maybe a better way to say it is A plus zero is equal to zero plus A, and that is equal to A for all A belonging to the set F. So it means that for any number you pick from the set F, if you add zero to it, you get the number back. Then there's also additive inverse. So for every A belonging to the set F, there exists minus A, that's the negation of A, so, which belongs to F, such that A plus minus A will give you zero. So I mean, the basic thing in set theory is that if you for addition now, so if you add a number to its additive inverse, you get the additive identity. So the additive identity is zero. So if you add A and minus A, you get zero, which is the additive identity. So A is the element, minus A is its additive inverse. So if you add the two together, you get the additive identity zero. That's under addition operation. Then let's move on to multiplication. A set basically has three components: the set and two binary operations, addition and multiplication. That's a field. Okay, talking about field under multiplication now. The axioms of a field under multiplication. So, of course, again, we have closure. The idea of closure, again, is that if you pick any two elements, A and B, belonging to the set F, so if you multiply A and B, the result you get also belongs to the set F. Then there's also associativity, that is A dot B. If you do A dot B first and then dot C, you get the same thing as doing B dot C first and then doing A dot B of that B dot C you have already done for all A, B, and C belonging to set F. Then there's commutativity such that A dot B is equal to B dot A for all A and B belonging to F. And just like the additive case, we also have multiplicative identity. So the multiplicative identity here is 1. So there exists 1, which belongs to the set F, with 1 not equal to 0, such that A dot 1, that is A multiplied by 1, is equal to 1 dot multiplied by A, and it is also equal to A. for all A belonging to F. So for multiplication, the identity is 1. For addition, the identity is 0. And then we also have the multiplicative inverse. So for every A belonging to the set F with A not equal to 0, there exists A inverse belonging to F such that A multiplied by A inverse is equal to 1, just like before. So the element A multiplied by its inverse, because we're talking about multiplication, so that'll be the multiplicative inverse. So if you multiply the two, the element A and its multiplicative inverse, you get the multiplicative identity 1. And that's true for maybe 4. 4 times 1 over 4, 1. Minus 2 over 3 times minus 3 over 2, 1. Like that. Because minus 2 over 3 is the multiplicative inverse of minus 3 over 2. So if you multiply them together, you get 1. So apart from that, so we have this axiom under each operation. We have closure, associativity, commutativity, identity, and inverse. And then apart from that, we have the distributive law. So you see here that multiplication distributes over addition, but addition does not distribute over multiplication. So you see that A dot B plus C is the same thing as A dot B plus A dot C. But if you do A plus B dot C, you may not get this. You won't get this. You won't get the same result left and right. So, so here we see that multiplication distributes over addition, such that A dot B plus C is equal to A dot B plus A dot C for all A, B, and C belonging to the set F. So let's look at some examples of fields, right? So for examples of fields now, we have rational numbers. Rational numbers are fields. So how do you know this is? So I mean, one thing you can do is you can take any two rational numbers you like and try closure on it. So if you pick any two rational numbers and add or multiply them, and you get an answer that is also rational, then that means there's closure, and then you can do all the other ones, associativity, inverse, and things like that. The real numbers are also fields. Then complex numbers are fields too. Then you have finite fields like Z of P, that's Z for prime number. So prime integers, I think that's the idea. Prime integers, right? Then we have non-examples. Integers are not fields in the sense that you can actually add or multiply. You can, for instance, add you can multiply two integers and not get. Is that the idea? So Z, which are integer, is not a field because most integers do not have multiplicative inverses in Z. Exactly. So for instance, if you have 4, the multiplicative inverse of 4 is 1 over 4, which is not an integer. So as a result of that, though 4 belongs to Z, 1 over 4 does not belong to Z. So in that case, since they don't be the elements and its multiplicative inverse are not both integers, then you cannot say Z is a field, but every other one is a field. Integers and the set of integers is not a field. That's simply what we have seen there. So having taken care of the idea of fields now, can we move on to ordered fields? The topic is fields and ordered fields. So for ordered fields now, in analysis, we are not only concerned with arithmetic operations, but also with the notion of order. So order is really important. So this motivates the concept of an ordered field. So we have seen fields already, a field has a set F and two binary operations, and we see that it obeys all the axioms for addition, all the axioms for multiplication, and it also follows the idea of distributivity, where multiplication distributes over addition. Having taken care of all of that, right? We also are concerned about order. So what is an ordered field in that sense then? So an ordered field is a field F together with a total order relation less than on F, such that we have the trichotomy law. So for A belonging to F, exactly one of the following holds. So there are three laws now, but only one of it holds. So either that A belonging to F is either equal to 0, then if it's not equal to 0, it can be greater than 0. If it's not equal to 0 or greater than 0, then it is less than 0. So that's the trichotomy law. That's talking about under the idea of ordered field. And then we have compatibility with addition. If A is less than B, then A plus C should be less than B plus C. Because, I mean, if A is less than B, if you add C to A and you add C to B, then A plus C should be less than B plus C. That's the compatibility with addition theme. So I mean, for any C you pick from the same field, right? So if A is less than B, then A plus C should be less than B plus C for C less than F. So if this does not hold, then you can say so it means that it is not an ordered field you are dealing with. Then compatibility with multiplication. If 0 is less than A and 0 is less than B, then it simply means that 0 is less than A plus B. I mean, A multiplied by B, right? So if 0 is less than A and 0 is less than B, all right, then 0 should be less than A dot B. So that's compatibility with addition. Okay, so after that, let's talk about positive set formulation. So alternatively, one may define an ordered field in terms of a set P, which is a subset of the field itself. That is called a positive set, such that for every A belonging to that F now, for every A belonging to F, exactly one of A is less than, where A is an element of P, or A is equal to 0, or minus A is less than, or minus A is an element of P holds. So that's another way you can look at it. So if you have a positive set, which is a subset of your field now. So for any A belonging to that F now, so one of these three holds, it's either A is an element of P, or A is 0, or minus A is an element of P. So one of these must hold. Then the other one is that if A and B belong to the positive set P, then A plus B also belong to P, and A dot B that's A multiplied by B belongs to the positive set P also. So let's look at some examples of ordered fields, right? So examples of ordered fields. Here, okay, I think I still want to do all of this. Okay, good. That's fine. So examples of ordered fields, we have Q, this special Q that's talking about rational numbers. So the set of rational numbers Q with the usual order, that is an example. Then the set of real numbers with the usual order is also an ordered one. But then we have a non-example. So the set of complex numbers cannot be ordered to form an ordered field because the order would contradict I squared equals minus 1 less than 0. So, I mean, you cannot order complex numbers. I mean, how do you know which one comes before which? So that's the challenge with complex numbers. All right, so let's talk about key properties of ordered fields. So we have three key properties of ordered fields here. First of all, if A is greater than 0, all right, if A is greater than 0, then A inverse is also greater than 0 for an ordered field. So, okay, we see examples of fields, right? We already have the rational numbers. So, of course, we know if you take normal counting numbers like 1, 2, 3, so we know 1 is greater than 0, right? So, okay, I mean, 1 is easy. Let's go for 2. 2 is greater than 0. Then 1 over 2, which is 0.5, is also greater than 0. So pick any number like that. Even if you pick 100, 100 is greater than 0. 1 over 100 is also greater than 0, no matter how small it is. Then another property is that for all A belonging to F, for any element you pick from the F, then A squared is always greater than or equal to 0. So for instance, so if you take real numbers, if you take like 0.5, that's half. So half belongs to real numbers, or if you like, even rational numbers. But if you square half, you get 1 over 4, which is still, of course, though it is smaller than half, but now it's still greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so that's that. Then now the third property is that if 0, okay, the third property is that if 0 is less than A is less than B, then if 0 is less than A is less than B, then 0 is less than A inverse less than B inverse. Let's take 2 and 3 for instance. 0 is less than 2, 2 is less than 3. Then that also means that 0 is less than 1 over 2. I mean, 1 over 2 is 0.5. Then 1 over 2 is also less than 1 over 3 because 1 over 3 is 0.33. So 0.5, no, wait, 0 is less than 2, is less than 3. Then 0 is also less than A inverse. That is 1 over 2, that's 0.5. And also less than, so 0.5 now is less than 1 over 3. 1 over 3 is 0.3. I think it breaks down in that situation. So if 0 is less than 2 and 2 is less than 3, for sure, then 0 is less than 1 over 2, which is less than 1 over 3. That doesn't hold here. So maybe natural numbers don't follow here. But that's curious though. We may need to confirm. Please confirm this and let me know in the comment section what this looks like. But it looks like there's a bit of contradiction here. So maybe it looks like this order have got to be reversed because 0 will be less than 1, it will be greater than. Oh, 0 is not greater than that. Oh, okay. I don't know. So let me know what this should be in the comment section. So, or maybe natural numbers won't work here. Okay, so let's talk about the importance of fields and ordered fields in real analysis. So the axioms of fields provide the algebraic structure for manipulation of numbers. That's one. Then the axioms of ordered fields add the ability to compare numbers, which is essential for defining inequalities, establishing convergence and limits, building the real number system rigorously. In fact, real analysis relies on the real numbers, the set of real numbers are which form an ordered field with the additional completeness property that every non-empty set bounded above has a least upper bound. I think we saw some of the most important axioms or theorems in real analysis in the first video. So I know in subsequent videos we'll be talking about this into some more depth. All right. So real analysis relies on the real numbers are which form an ordered field with the additional completeness. So we have the completeness property that every non-empty set that is bounded above has a least upper bound. So it has the smallest uh, number that bounds it above. I think that's the idea of least upper bound. So with this, we come to the end of this third video on fields and ordered fields as far as real analysis is concerned. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know how helpful this video is for you. And if there's something like me to try out, feel free to let me know. Uh, if you have subscribed already, yes. So thank you. If you haven't, of course, you don't want to continue missing out on nice learnings going on here. So why not just go ahead and subscribe right away? And having done that, just hit on the notification bell so you can always get alerted each time a new video is released. After doing that, you can take it a step further. You can become a member of this channel. Just click on join and you can see 3 levels of membership. You can avail yourself of. And then that gives you some special perks, some special privileges. Ultimately, don't forget to comment, like, and share so that more people can have access to the great content I have going on here. Till I come your way again, keep doing maths right. Bye.